Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. It's not warm when she's away. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone.
Bring the motherfucking ruckus! Bring the motherfucking ruckus! Bring the motherfucking ruckus! Bring the motherfucking ruckus! Go space! Catch the blast!
Alright, before I start with the whole story, I just want to say thanks to everybody that helped, everyone who shared the post, all the people who had their eyes out there, all the people who were going out and randomly combing neighborhoods for me, all the people who went out there with me and helped me follow up on leads and watch houses when I couldn't watch them. Absolutely, without all those people, there's no way I would have got my bikes back. Without all those Facebook shares, without Craigslist posts, social media being used for good. Who'd have thought? So starting from the beginning, pretty much the next day they got stolen, we kind of had a tip that there was a car and a trailer that could have been involved, and you know, it was spotted right in the same area, right in the same time. I was able within 12 hours to locate that car and that trailer, the exact one. I gave the information to the police, referenced the police report that talked about that car and that trailer, and we got a cop down there, and really, you know, he had no probable cause to search it. The guy wouldn't let him search it, and there was really nothing he could do, and nothing he did do. So we pretty much had a lapse in time where we couldn't really watch that house, and we don't know what they did, if they ever had the bikes, if they did anything with the bikes. That lead kind of just still never really led to anything, and we still don't know if they were involved or not. Fast forward a little bit, there had been a couple sightings of the maroon bike. The first one was in Field Club, and that didn't really lead to much. The next one was in North Omaha on 30th and Clay, and that one actually led to a lot. I was able to look at the video surveillance from the gas station, completely confirmed it was my bike, confirmed the description of the person, so now we have something to go off of. A little bit later that same day, I get a call from somebody saying that they saw a Craigslist post, and they were calling about the cash reward. So I took the call and I said, yeah, you know, any information leading to the return of the bikes is a cash reward. Do you have any information? He said, well, I don't know about the red bike, but I know where the blue bike is. At this point, this makes sense. The red bike, when it was stolen, they stole the key as well off my toolbox. So I imagine it was a lot easier for them to sell the red bike. It pretty much, you can just start that bike up and ride it every time. It runs great. And they probably had no problem selling it. I'm calling this guy back and forth. He's saying he's gonna go get the blue bike. He's saying he knows who has it, but the guy wants to sell it. And I was like, okay, how much does he want for it? And he said $500. And I was like, all right, just buy it back and I'll give you a couple $100 for the reward for dealing with it. And he's like, okay. And then, you know, at first he had told me he has to go get it and he has to come get the money first. But then when I told him I was down to do this, all of a sudden he had the bike already and he was ready just to come meet me. So I was already with some friends down looking around for the bike in a different area, and we all went to the Hy-Vee on 50th and Center because this is where we decided to meet this guy. And he basically pulled into the lot. He had the bike. I backed my truck up to his, and as soon as we got the bike loaded into my truck, I had some friends pretty much come flying through the parking lot and block him in, and jumped out of their vehicles, and we pretty much surrounded these guys and told them, A, you're not getting any money, B, you need to start talking and tell us where this bike came from. And you know, at first he just kept saying he doesn't know anything about the other bike. The other bike's already gone. He has no idea where it went. And then they started getting more aggressive, saying they don't got to tell us anything and they're not going to tell us anything. And it got to the point that one of the guys went to the other side of the vehicle and started sharpening something on the ground extremely loudly. And one of the people I was with, you know, pretty much let him know that that was a bad idea. And he came back over and he was getting more aggressive. And at this point, the bike was in my truck. I just said, guys, let's go, let these guys go. You know, we had people scattered all throughout the parking lot watching. The guys knew they were surrounded, and it wasn't worth it at this point. We had the bikes, they weren't gonna offer any information to us, so we just left. Shortly after they left, we called the police to let them know that we had the bike, and they wanted to come out and just take a statement. And the guy called me and said he was coming back and he wants to talk to me and he wants to give us information. And I said, okay, well, the cops are here, so you can come back and you can talk to them. And he wanted to. He thought he was, what the hell was that thing? Did you guys see that thing? It was like a scooter powered electric skateboard or something. I don't know, that was crazy. I'm gonna try to get it when he comes back. So yeah, the guy came back to talk to the cops, saying he has information on it for us, also thinking that the cop was going to get him to force me to pay him the reward, which obviously wasn't happening. So the guy came back, didn't really give us any information, and he left. Didn't hear from him for a couple days. Next day rolls around, we keep getting tips about this same kid, this white kid with red hair that apparently bought the maroon bike, and he's been riding it around, and we're right on his tail. We're circling areas that we know he was in, that he was spotted in, and he kept finding out that we were looking for him, and he knew, and apparently 2 nights ago he decided to go hide the bike at a buddy's house in South Omaha down by the zoo. Tuesday morning rolls around, I get a call from the guy who returned the blue bike, and says, hey, I know where the red bike is. Okay, well, where's it at? Let me know, you know, just give me an address and I'll take care of the rest. The guy drives back down there, he gets an exact address for me. I pretty much head straight to the house and kind of scope things out. Immediately I see all sorts of chopped up go-kart frames and just lots of sketchy things. There's a huge garage, a shed in the back, and just all sorts of stuff that kind of leads me to believe it could possibly be there, you know, especially considering I have this tip that this guy said he 100% confirmed he saw it there last night. I reverse look up the address and I get the house owner's name through just a basic Google search, really. Once I had his name, I was able to kind of look at his Facebook, confirm that that was him who owns the house, that was the house in many pictures, and then I see that I had a mutual friend with him. I get eyes on the house just to make sure they can't really move anything, and I go talk to my mutual friend. My mutual friend pretty much confirms the story that the guy that in the morning told me, that this guy storing it is a good guy, but he falls for some sketchy stuff. There's a good chance he probably didn't even know this bike was stolen. Who knows? That's another topic. So I talked to my friend, and he basically tells me he knows this guy well enough that he's willing to just go down there and knock on the door and say, hey, we think my friend's scooter's here. Can we have it back? Can we look around? So we get a pretty big group of guys together. We all meet nearby, and we go down to the house and we knock on the door, and we talk to the guy's wife, who's actually being, you know, super cool, and she gets the guy on the phone, and he pretty much just tells us, you know, he saw the bike. He knew there was something fishy with it, but it's this kid who he's renting the basement apartment out to, and this whole story checks out with what the original guy who tipped us off told us, and we just said, you know, we don't think you're a bad guy. We're not here to prosecute you or anyone in any way. We just want the bike back. So the guy pretty much gives us full permission to search the whole house, the whole garage, everything, and we do, and the bike's nowhere to be found. You know, at this point, we let him know that we 100% knew the location of this bike. We knew where it was, and we pretty much weren't leaving without at least some information. And he gives us all the information on this Nick kid who's storing it. We pretty much just get name and phone numbers and lots of information. And as we're getting ready to leave, the vehicle that we're told this belongs to this Nick kid pulls up, and lo and behold, he comes out of the car. As soon as he gets out of the car, we pretty much all get around him, and he immediately has got his hands up saying, I didn't know it was stolen. It's right down the street. We can go get it, blah, blah, blah. And we're like, cool, man, get in the car. We're following you. You're showing us where it's at right now. It pretty much happened that fast. He hopped in his car. We all hopped in our trucks. Everybody followed him. The house was right down the street, and as soon as he passed it, he pretty much just pointed and got the hell out of there. And we all stopped. We got out. As soon as we were getting out, there was a guy in a Tahoe in the driveway trying to leave, a guy on a motorcycle trying to get out of there in a super big hurry, and we kind of blocked all of them in. Then all of a sudden, another guy comes out of the house with his hand inside his pants like this, clearly holding a gun. And there's some grandma in the front door just opening the door, just yelling, "It ain't here, it ain't here," when we haven't even said we're looking for anything yet. The guy on the motorcycle comes up to me and starts getting aggressive, asking what's my problem and why I'm here. And I'm like, just give us the bike and we won't call the police. Give us the bike, we know it's here. Basically, he goes around the corner, and as soon as he gets around the corner, he calls this Nick kid who's been having him store it, and it's like, hey man, all these people are here looking for the bike, what's going on? And in the meantime, we're back here at this house, and the guy who came out with the gun has now pulled his gun, cocked it, and had it ready. And
Yeah, Yeah, this dude's got a fucking gun.
Yeah, he's got a gun.
He pulled out and cocked it right in front of me.
And we pretty much kind of just have them surrounded, and at this point we don't know what to do. One of my friends is just pretty much right in everybody's face telling them they need to give us the bike back. We know it's here, and not letting down at all. Next thing you know, the guy in the white motorcycle comes back around, and he says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you were saying. Yeah, we got the scooter, man. It's right here. We'll get it for you." Starts saying he was getting ready to call me, and he just saw the Craigslist post, and they were gonna turn it in tonight and all this stuff. And he pretty much calms the other people down. There's a couple little up and down moments in there as far as everything's calm and it's a shit storm again, and then it's calm. And he goes in the garage and opens it up and wheels the bike out, and they load it up, and they helped me strap it down, and we got the hell out of there. You know, it was hands down one of the scariest situations I've ever have been in. I went to the police station right before. I told them we have proof of its location. You know, we can ping a GPS tracking on it. It was basically a local tracker that was only available within a certain amount of feet. And once we knew the location of it, we were able to ping that. And they just weren't doing anything. They weren't willing to really even hear my story. I couldn't even talk to anybody. I had to leave a voicemail on a phone through the lobby. But nonetheless, we got the bike back. We got both bikes back. I'm gonna do a little bit of a damage report here right now and kind of see, show you exactly what's wrong with them and the plan for getting them fixed up. But that's it. That's the story. It was a really shitty week of chasing every random lead, you know, spending pretty much every moment of every day driving around neighborhoods and sitting on corners of places where the bike was spotted at, and just trying to listen to it and just trying to catch any lead and any wind of these bikes, you know. I know to a lot of people it just seems like they're scooters, but they're not. They're like a piece of art to me. Like they're definitely a way of life. And having them taken away, especially from your home, is a really shitty feeling. And the overwhelming amount of help and support and everything I received from all my friends in the community and people I don't even know was definitely a breath of fresh air. And it was a great story for everyone to see, I think, in the end. And it was like a real life episode of Game of Thrones or something, like, especially like people waiting for this whole story right now. But yeah, good things coming for the bikes. They're gonna be fine. The blue one I'll be able to fix up. The maroon one I'm definitely gonna have to do a full rebuild on, but look forward to that. I already got all my ideas planned out, and it's gonna be sweet. And let's go check out the bikes. All right, so it's time for the damage report. Starting with the maroon bike. First of all, I mean, they definitely crashed it. So they pretty much destroyed this brand new Yoshimura exhaust, scratched the frame up all over. They bent the shit out of the rear frame and broke the peg right here and just kind of scratched the whole side. So they definitely laid it down. The guy we took it back from had quite a bit of road rash on his right side, so pretty sure he's the one who crashed it. Next thing is, you can tell they spray painted the bike. They spray painted over all the wood grain and then the custom paint and the wood grain right here and all the washer dress up kit. They pretty much spray painted all that. They broke the battery box when they crashed it. It just doesn't really sit on there right anymore. I'm sure I can get that fixed. They also, I'm assuming when they crashed it, they broke the left side brake lever, and the hand control switch looks a little messed up. I could probably fix that. But they went ahead and gave me a new brake lever off of like a Chinese scooter or like an old Honda Elite or something. So thanks for that, guys. And then yeah, they curbed the wheels up really good and scratched the headlight bracket, and they kept my license plate on the whole time. Never even took it off. Geniuses. And I also got it back with the key. They got quite a bit of paint on the lights. They broke the master cylinder on this, so there's no front brake. They even siphoned the gas. This tank is bone dry. Crazy. They did a little body work right here. They cracked it, and then it looks like they put a little Bondo on there before they painted it. It's pretty much it. Just the really horrible paint job, and the bent frame is the worst of it, but luckily I have a spare frame or two at home that I can use. All right, so as far as the blue bike, pretty much I don't think they ever were able to get it started, and I don't think that they rode it at all. So the most of the damage it took in the transport process, I'm assuming. Pretty much all the damage here is just going to be the clip-on bars came off, and they scratched the box a little bit in a few spots. I think most of it should buff out. They broke this peg assembly and the kickstand. I think when they were strapping it down, they scratched the gas tank cover pretty badly right there, but luckily just on the block, so that'll be an easy touch-up. And then they just scratched pretty much the CVT cover really bad and things like that. They did break the ignition, and they scratched it up really good right next to it. They broke the horn switch off, I think trying to hotwire it using the horn. They broke the JDM Zoomer headlight bracket, but I can probably fix that as well. It looks like they just bent it. And really that's about it for that bike, so nothing too major. Should be a pretty easy fix. So really that's about it. I did spend about an hour yesterday starting to tear down the bike finally. Got the motor off, the wheels pretty rashed up, but I'll just be able to get it repowder coated, and that should be all right. Everything here should be okay for the most part. Just have to clean up some of the shitty spray paint stuff they did and things like that. As far as the battery box, probably just gonna end up getting a new one. I don't know if I want to spend the time trying to refinish their really shitty paint. I mean, I probably will spend the time doing it eventually, just not right now. The exhaust, yeah, they screwed it up pretty good when they crashed. It's really scratched up back here. They dented it in right there. They dented it in really bad right here, probably to the point that it's gonna crack there. So I'm gonna have to address that. They did pretty much destroy the muffler as well. So that, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with that. As far as everything else, you know, I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do. Here you can get a nice look at the original paint, even though it's kind of dirty and dusty. It's like a really nice burgundy versus their attempt at changing the color. So not very good there. Other than that, I'm gonna get the bike completely torn down today and kind of decide what I want to do with everything. I'm gonna have to do a new rear frame regardless. And other than that, you know, I noticed a few other things, like they did this right side Rizoma signal no longer works. They scratched these bars up really badly, so I'm gonna have to have those repowder coated. They cracked the they cracked the gas tank cover in multiple spots. This is one of my favorite parts. They left the key in when they spray painted it, so the key's got like that two-tone look going on now. It's pretty sweet. But yeah, I mean, other than that, that's really it. It's definitely going to be a full rebuild, and I'm kind of stoked for it, honestly. So it is what it is, and just definitely want to say thanks again to everybody that helped. It was amazing and almost overwhelming, like all the posts and all the shares, and definitely huge thanks to Kyle and Fred at 1320 Video. As soon as they shared it, tips were just flooding in, and things were really starting to happen. So thanks again to everybody. Bikes are home, and look for a sweet build here in the next couple months. Peace. One last thing, now that summer's like kind of finally winding down, I am going to finally be uploading like pretty much the entire summer's worth of vlogs and footage and car shows and Smoky Mountain Crawl. Man, the first and the second Smoky Mountain Crawl that I still haven't uploaded. Footage from when we took the Ruckuses to Sturgis. So tons and tons and tons of content coming up here in the next couple months. So stay tuned.